Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at the grammar exercises from chapter 7 of the Road to Latin textbook. Now before we get into it, like I always say, if you want to get more information about the chapter, look at some grammar notes, vocab, whatever it might be, feel free to check out Nova Latin. You can find not only these grammar exercises, but a few others, including a link to different magistrulas, which is a website that'll let you practice specific things in terms of your Latin. So I encourage you to go check it out. If you're looking for more work beyond just this, it's always there for you to do. The other thing I'd say is before we go through the rest of the video, make sure you've read through the grammar, you've tried this on your own a few times, you've read through the stories, the chapter stories, just trying to make sense of the grammar. Then you should come back to these exercises and really do them last, right? Once you feel like you have a strong grasp of it, just to double check that you're on the right track. You can do it in whatever order you want. I just always recommend it that way. I think it's just difficult to unpack what's going on here until you've actually worked your way through all the grammar, the notes, and tried it in the story. Then these grammar exercises can kind of be like a nice way to double check that you're on the right track, okay? So if you haven't done that, pause the video, go do it. Otherwise, let's go through it together. Now in this video, or in this chapter rather, the grammar we're after is the beginning of prepositional phrases, right? You're learning how to say into something and out of something, right? And we're seeing that when you're going out of or away from something, it can use the ablative case, or if you're showing position or location, right? You're standing in something, it also can use the ablative case. So what do I mean by that? Well, you can see in number 1. So number 1 has Julia filia Laecae in Vila laborat, right? So Julia is the daughter of Laeca, the filia Laecae. So you have in wheel with a blank in the actual exercise. But the verb here is laborat, she's working. So you're trying to say that she's working in the house. Now, since she's inside the house, that's what we sometimes call position or location, or at least that's how I teach it to my students. Since you're showing the position of something, you're going to use the ablative case. And since there's only one house here, it's going to be singular, Vila, right? If you write it like that in Vila with the long mark, you're saying that she works inside the house. Look at number 2. You have Laeca naviculam in aqua vide. So here we're saying Laeca, who's the poet, he sees a naviculum, right, a little boat in aqua. You're trying to say that the boat is in the water or on the water, depending on how you want to translate it, right? But since you're showing the position of the boat, the naviculum, again, it's going to be ablative. And since water is singular, just meaning like on the water, you're going to make it aqua, right, with a long mark. In number 3, we have poeta cum filia ex silvis properat. Now, the words that are blanks here are filia, right? It's fili blank in the book, and sil blank. So you're saying the poeta, the poet, that's your subject. Properat, hastens, right? Or hustles, however you want to do it. That's your verb. So cum filia means with his daughter. Cum is one of these prepositions that always takes the ablative case. So when you're saying with something or someone, whoever the person or thing that you're with, it's going to be ablative in Latin. So since he has one daughter in the story, it's going to be filia with a long mark. Okay. Now, ex silvis is also ablative because I'm going out of the woods. So whenever you're showing motion out of something, you're going to use the ablative case. You learn in the next chapter, I believe, that when you're going into the woods, it would be different. It would be accusative. But for right now, we're dealing with out of. That motion out of, which often is shown with the preposition ex here, will always take an ablative. So you have ex silvis, out of the woods. Okay. Then number 4, you have ab ora, servae properant. So my subject is servae, the slave women, right? The slaves. They hasten, properant. Ab ora means away from the shore. So ab, right, is another one of these prepositions that shows motion away from or out of, right? In this case, it means from or away from. It always goes with the ablative case. And you see it listed that way in the vocab for this chapter, right? So since the slave women are going away from the shore, it's going to be ora, right, from the shore. If they were going toward the shore, it would be something different, right? You use accusative. But again, we'll learn that more in the next chapter. In number 5, you have Laeca et Julia e Vila saipe properant. So Laeca and Julia, right, Julia, that's your subject, the two of them. They properant, they hasten, often, saipe, e Vila, out of the house or from the house. Now, this is an important little side note. A with a long mark and X are the exact same thing. The reason they're spelled differently, and the same with a and ab, right? It depends on if the word that comes after it starts with a vowel or a consonant. Right? Now, since Vila starts with the V, you're going to have a Vila, right? And when you say it, it just works. If you try to say ex Vila, it kind of sticks in your mouth a little bit, right? It's sort of the equivalent in English of saying an elephant instead of a elephant. It's the exact same idea. So don't get thrown off by that. A and X are the same preposition, right? But because they're going from the house, and again, there's only one house, you need that ablative singular ending. You're going to have Vila, right? They go from the house. And number 6, you have poetae in silvis et in aqua picturas vident. So the poets, or poets in general, they see pictures, picturas, right? They see pictures in the woods and in the water. Now, this is supposed to be like a little metaphorical, right? This chapter is talking about how poets draw their inspiration from nature. That's really what's going on here. But since you're trying to say in the woods, inside the woods, again, you're showing position or location, it's going to be silvis, right? Ablative plural. And in the water is the same thing. In or on the water, you're showing that position or location. That's going to be ablative as well. So you have in aqua. Okay, so that's the general rule of thumb when you're doing these. When you're thinking about prepositions, right, you're showing relative position. If I'm going away from something, or I'm trying to show my position of something, that's when you use the ablative case. And there's also a couple special, well, not really special, but just prepositions that take ablative on their own. For instance, cum, right, with is always going to be ablative, right? So hopefully that makes some sense. If you're stuck on anything, put it in the comments below. But again, hopefully you've read through the chapter's grammar, you've done the story, right? Translated everything. Now you just